Moments ago in Houston, Texas, the Warriors with an opportunity to tie or take the lead, and they give it away. Draymond Green committing Golden State's 18th turnover of the game, and it proves to be the most costly, as now the Warriors return to the Bay, trying to stave off elimination. Welcome on into our NBA TV studios for a thrilling post-game edition of Western Conference Finals basketball. The Warriors and Rockets came right down to the wire, and now it is Houston who is one win away from a trip to the 2018 NBA Finals. With Tony Delk, Rip Hamilton, I'm Jared Greenberg. We're going to get you back out to Toyota Center in just a couple of moments. We'll hear from both coaches. We'll hear from the players. Plenty of reaction and analysis from this one. So the final score, 98-94. The Rockets beat the Warriors. And, guys, that play kind of exemplifies what went wrong for the Warriors in this game, Rip, with all of the turnovers, 18 of them.
Well, I mean, Houston really came out early in the game and really got physical with this Golden State roster, this Golden State team. They really got up in them in their airspace, kind of got them off rhythm a little bit. Even though they made some shots, especially in the second half, getting to the basket, I think they got Klay Thompson going a bit on his jump shot. But that last play, even the shot that Cook had, when they threw him the ball the first time he caught it, he kind of bobbled it, fumbled it a little bit before he shot the ball. Same thing with Draymond Green. Maybe a little better pass from Steph Curry, but it just seemed like they were just a little out of sync on the offensive end.
Yeah, the continuity wasn't there like it should have been. And like you said about Cook, he should have known that CP3 was in the backcourt. And we talked about this early in the green room. Sometimes you have to drive. They did a better job the second half driving to the basket, getting some layups, and also getting to the foul line. But let's give the Rockets a lot of credit. They played hard-nosed, one-on-one defense, and there wasn't a lot of help. They didn't have the shot blocker Capella back there. So those guys kind of strapped up and made sure they guarded their own man. Because once you started coming off players, as we saw with what Golden State did, now you're gonna open up the three-point line for guys like Eric Gordon to make big threes. CP3 was huge. He made a lot of big shots in this game.
But before we go and break down some of these plays, and as I said, we're going to go back out live to Toyota Center, hear from both head coaches and the players in a moment. A couple of other headlines to look at, and this is going to be a big one. Chris Paul, who came out of the game right with about 22 seconds to go and didn't play the last few possessions, appeared to have a leg injury, hamstring. He's been dealing with a calf and Achilles injury. What's his status going to be for Game 6 on Saturday, Game 7 if there is one as well? So we'll certainly have to take a look at that moving forward. And this Rocket team, James Harden continues to struggle offensively. Chris Paul was sensational in the second half, scored 18 points after he started the first half of this game 0 for 7 from the field.
Well, I'm telling you, Chris Paul really willed himself in this game, especially in the first half. We thought that, hey, he kind of gave it his all in the game in the last game he played. But tonight in the second half, he made tough shot after tough shot. The Houston Rockets is a team that always been playing in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. Tonight, they played in the last 10. A lot of them shots were at the buzzer, pretty much at the end of shot clock. But he was just a pit bull tonight. He just pretty much willed his team. He said he was not going to lose this game. And even if you looked at after he hurt his hamstring, you can see that the conversation with him and the head trainer was like, he didn't want to come out the game.
No, he didn't.
But he depended on his guys out there, and he did a great job of really finishing this game out for him.
So the last two wins by Houston, by a total of 7 points, right? And this Golden State team, who had been known over the last, now into their fourth year in the Steve Kerr era, of playing smart basketball. Certainly they've had times of getting rid of the basketball carelessly, but late game execution had been part of their specialty. And now in these two games, we're questioning, Tony, what went on. And you're mentioning the Quinn Cook possession, Draymond Green. What's Steph Curry doing out of a timeout, giving it to Draymond Green?
And some of that's coaching, but you can't put everything on Steve Kerr. Like, these guys got to understand that they have to make plays, especially late game. It's always about shot selection and taking care of the ball, but making sure that when you drive to the basket, you got to drive with the intent of either trying to play through the contact, make a foul shot, want to get to the foul line. But I just think right now, with the physicality of the game, and they're physical from start to finish, and the Warriors made some adjustments. But the best thing that happened with this Houston Rocket team is they fought to the end. It didn't matter who they was guarding. They made sure that, you know what, we got to have our hands active, move our feet, and then just the last play, they played good defense.
Here's the play out of the timeout.
Look at it right here. Draymond Green. I mean, yes, he just made a big-time three right there. But with 6 seconds left to go in the game, I'm curious to understand what were they trying to get out of that play, because even if Draymond Green was running into the dribble handoff with Klay Thompson right there, they was not going to leave the shooter. But it was just a bad possession for the Golden State Warriors, and you don't expect that from a championship ball club, especially late in the game.
Why do you think this is happening? So much either indecision or just a lack of I mean, we talked about it during this year that they had earned the right to feel like they could flip the switch because they had gone to 3 straight finals. Did that mentality come back to bite them here?
I think it has. Even in Game 4, as well as in this game, you have to respect your opponent. They're number 1 for a reason, and they built their team to beat your team. So this team, the Houston Rockets, they believe that they can win, not only on your court, but when they get back home, the confidence is there right now. And they know if we get stopped, we make you guys take challenge shots. And another thing is that James Harden, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but he was aggressive getting to the basket and getting to the foul line, and that allowed them to keep that lead.
And also, I don't feel as though that they played against a team in the playoffs so far that has been as physical as this Houston Rocket team, especially when you got guys that live on the perimeter. Steph Curry wants to live on the perimeter. Klay Thompson only averaging 1 free throw a game. And when the Houston Rockets can actually put their hands on them, and you got guys like P.J. Tucker, Trevor Ariza, constantly, getting up into these guys' airspace. And Golden State's a team that plays 4 out, 1 in. And most of the time they have 5 guys out on the perimeter and nobody driving to the basket.
And what they're doing a good job of, they're preventing their cuts. So how they get their layups is not by breaking the player down. They're not giving them easy baskets. Yeah. They've done a good job of cutting all those cuts to the basket where Klay Thompson and also Steph Curry are great at that.
All right, that's Steve Kerr live at the podium in Houston. We're back live at our NBA TV studios in Atlanta. Rip Hamilton, Tony Delcom, Jared Greenberg get back out to press conferences reacting to Houston's dramatic win. The last 2 games decided by a total of 7 points after all those blowouts. Rockets take a 3-2 series lead. Couple of things here from Steve Kerr. Number one, like the perspective, right? The worst situation we've been in the Kevin Durant era in Golden State. And that means we're 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. He was very optimistic, but he used these different phrases many times. Settle down, wiser, discipline. Tony, what does that mean? And translate for us. And can this team do that starting Saturday night where they got to win 2 games Saturday and then Game 7?
That means taking better care of the ball, making sure you make the right pass and not just an errant pass where someone might be in the passing lane. And then defensively, he talked about this. We've been talking about this since Game 1. I've been seeing this glaring problem is that CP3 and James Harden are really good with the ball. So you have to be ready to guard them sliding laterally, not using your hands. You got to start reaching. Those guys are too good with the ball for Steph and Klay and Bell and Looney, all those guys to try to steal the ball from them. So you got to play those guys solid, challenge their shots, and then you shake your hand if they make the shot. But I'm not going to keep reaching and allow those guys to get to the line. You think about CP3, 20 points, 6 assists, no turnovers. Takes care of the ball.
How much is Golden State missing Andre Iguodala?
Oh, man, a lot. I mean, just a simple fact from his playmaking skills. Freeing Steph and Klay and guys like that up, especially a guy that can get the ball off the rebound and push it so they can get in a better transition flow. But I want to add to what Tone said. They got to know time and score, like especially late game situation. I think when they're up by 10, guys are just playing loose. Guys are shooting threes. They're in a nice little flow offensively. But when the game gets kind of close, it seems like everybody from 1 through 5, they tend to overthink everything they're doing out on the floor. And that's hurting them right now, especially when you're coming from a championship ball club.
All right, now Golden State will go back home Saturday and try and force the Game 7 back in Houston. Big storyline, the status of Chris Paul came out, didn't play the last 22 seconds of the game. We'll hear from James Harden, who has struggled offensively. He has missed his last 20 3-pointers in a row, but he still has managed to get this team a win away from the NBA Finals.